Before a flight, you might find yourself asking some very important questions, such as, what are the procedures for entering the traffic pattern and announcing my intentions at my destination airport? Are there any nav aids shut down for maintenance along my route? What services are available at my destination airport? The answers to these questions will always be right at your fingertips, because the FAA requires you to familiarize yourself with all available information before making a flight. Flight information options include both government and private sources in both print and electronic formats. In this lesson, you'll familiarize yourself with these sources by exploring the following topics: locating flight information, airport facility directory, notices to airmen, and federal aviation regulations and advisory circulars. Most of the information you'll need to fly safely comes directly from the FAA, which publishes a variety of sources for flight information. The Airport Facilities Directory contains a descriptive listing of all airports, heliports, and seaplane bases that are open to the public. The Federal Aviation Regulations contain the official text of public regulations issued by the FAA. The Aeronautical Information Manual contains the basic flight information and ATC procedures you must follow to conduct flight operations in the United States. Advisory circulars provide non-regulatory guidance and information in a variety of subject areas, such as airspace, airports, and air traffic control. Notices to airmen provide time-critical flight planning information. You can access these publications and a variety of other aviation-related publications on the FAA website under the Regulations and Policies tab. You can also order printed versions of selected publications through the Government Printing Office or from many private vendors, including Jeppesen. The Aeronautical Information Manual, or AIM, is your official guide to basic flight information and ATC procedures. The AIM is revised several times a year, and it furnishes a detailed description of the National Airspace System, including the procedures necessary to conduct flight operations in the United States. The AIM also includes items of special interest to pilots, such as medical facts and other flight safety information. Many commercial publishers offer information for pilots that is comparable to government sources. For example, Jeppesen publishes several flight information products. Published by the National Aeronautical Charting Office, the Airport Facility Directory, or AFD, contains a descriptive listing of all airports, heliports, and seaplane bases that are open to the public. The AFD organizes the facilities alphabetically by state and then by the city associated with the facility. The AFD is divided into 7 volumes, each of which covers a specific region of the conterminous United States, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Supplements to the AFD cover airports in Alaska and the Pacific. To help you interpret the abundance of information in an AFD airport listing, each regional volume contains a directory legend that explains each symbol and term you'll find in the directory. The National Aeronautical Charting Office publishes each volume of the AFD every 56 days and features the effective date on the cover of each volume. An AFD listing provides specific information about the location of each airport, including distance from the closest city, latitude and longitude, the difference in hours between local time and Zulu time, elevation of the airport in MSL, and the sectional chart on which the airport appears. Each airport facility directory listing includes the following information about each runway at every location: the length and width, composition, types of lighting available, approach slope angle and threshold crossing height, runway slope if applicable, traffic pattern if different than the standard, and any other information that might be useful to you. You can also find weather and communication information in an AFD listing, including weather data sources such as ASOS, AWOS, and HIWAS, airport terminal control frequencies such as ATIS, Unicom, CTAF, and FSS contact information, and radio communication frequencies for the tower, ground control, approach control, and departure control. Following weather and communication information, an AFD listing provides airspace and NAVAID information. Airspace information indicates the type of airspace surrounding the airport. If that information includes part-time D and E airspace, this listing includes the effective times. The NAVAID listings include all NAVAIDs that appear on visual or IFR charts and all those for which the FAA has approved an instrument approach procedure. Finally, each AFD listing contains information about the servicing and maintenance availability at each airport. The Civil Maintenance Service Codes S1 to S8 indicate whether the airport can handle major or minor airframe or power plant repairs. The fuel codes indicate the type of fuel available at the airport, if any. Oxygen codes indicate the type of oxygen available at the airport, if any. The Airport Remarks section includes information about the days and times that the services are available. In addition to the airport listings, several other AFD sections contain information essential to VFR flight operations. The Special Notices section contains changes that affect the airspace system and certain flight operations. The Land and Hold Short section lists airports that have land and hold short operations. For each airport, this list includes the landing runway, hold short point, and the available landing distance for each runway where these operations apply. Two sections help you contact the flight service stations. The FAA and NWS telephone numbers section lists the numbers for all FSS as well as National Weather Service outlets located in the region, while the Flight Service Station Communication Frequencies section lists the FSS communication frequencies. The VOR Receiver Checkpoints section lists checkpoint and test facilities where you can check the accuracy of your VOR navigation equipment. The Aeronautical Chart Bulletin alerts you to changes that have occurred since the last publication date of each sectional, VFR terminal area, and WAC chart. You should refer to these changes for current information regarding airports, obstructions, and communication and navigation facilities. The Parachute Jumping Areas section lists parachute activity, including the location, maximum altitude, and times if available. You can find glider operation information in the Remarks section of the specific airport. Changes in aeronautical information aren't always known far enough in advance to include them in updates to aeronautical charts or the airport facility directory. The National Notices to Airmen system provides this time-critical flight planning information. There are two types of NOTAMs. NOTAM-Ds contain changes associated with en route navigational aids, civil public use airports and facilities, and the services and procedures at those locations. They are disseminated for all navigational facilities that are part of the U.S. airspace system and all facilities listed in the AFD. Flight Data Center, or FDC NOTAMs, contain regulatory information such as temporary flight restrictions or amendments to instrument approach procedures and other current aeronautical charts. The Notices to Airmen publication, issued every 28 days, contains all current NOTAM-Ds and FDC NOTAMs, except those for temporary flight restrictions. In addition, FDC NOTAMs are available through all air traffic facilities with telecommunications access. To help you locate relevant NOTAM-Ds, each one is prefixed by the location code of the affected airport plus one of 12 codes that indicate the type of information the NOTAM-D updates. The Code of Federal Regulations contains the official text of public regulations issued by the agencies of the federal government. The code is divided into 50 titles by subject matter. Subject Title 14, Aeronautics and Space, contains the Federal Aviation Regulations, or FARs, which cover a wide range of subjects ranging from aircraft certification and maintenance to pilot medical standards and flight rules. As a private pilot, you should pay particular attention to 3 parts. Part 61, which covers the requirements for pilot certification. Part 91, which covers general operating and flight rules. And NTSB 830, which covers rules regarding aviation accidents and incidents. Notices of proposed rulemaking found in the Federal Register inform pilots of pending regulation changes. The publication of these notices allows interested parties enough time to comment on the proposal and present ideas that might influence the final rule. In addition, you often can determine the intent behind a regulation by reviewing the preamble to the final rule. In government documents, a regulation is referred to by the CFR subject title number, such as 14 CFR Section 91.3. Within aviation, you can also refer to this same regulation as FAR 91.3. If you violate a regulation, the FAA can take a variety of enforcement actions, ranging from warning notices and letters of correction to re-examination or certificate action. In more serious cases, the FAA can pursue emergency actions, civil penalties, or even criminal actions. Although an enforcement action by the FAA is a substantial deterrent to violating a regulation, the most compelling reason to adhere to the FARs is to preserve flight safety. It's your responsibility as pilot in command to understand the current FARs, and you must make the decision to follow them. When pilots choose to disregard regulations, such as currency requirements, weather minimums, and minimum safe altitudes, the outcome is often a tragic accident. Advisory circulars, or ACs, provide non-regulatory guidance and information in a variety of subject areas. ACs also suggest methods of complying with FARs. Unless incorporated into a regulation by reference, the contents of an AC are not binding. ACs are divided into subjects with numbers that correspond to the relevant part numbers of the FARs, and then subdivided into series numbers within that general area. For example, you can find ACs specifically related to airmen under 60, airspace information under 70, and airports under 150. Within airports, the number 5340 designates the specific subject area of airport visual aids. When the FAA revises an AC, the circular's identification number includes a letter suffix to indicate the version. You can find ACs on the FAA website or order them through the U.S. Government Printing Office. The Advisory Circular Checklist provides pricing and ordering information and is periodically revised and reissued to inform you of the current status of ACs. Before making a flight, you should familiarize yourself with all available information. Not only does the FAA require it, it's just common sense. In this lesson, you learn the common sources of flight information by exploring these topics: locating flight information, airport facility directory, notices to airmen, and federal aviation regulations and advisory circulars.